Let us look at how Affinity Lens can be used for combined analysis of open and closed-ended responses from survey data. The designer first downloads the responses as a CSV file and imports the file into Affinity Lens desktop companion app. Next, he selects the open-ended response to be printed onto notes and hits print. Affinity Lens assigns a unique marker ID to each response and prints the response along with the corresponding markers. The designer then spreads the notes on a table and selects a note at random. While reading the note, he uses the inference lens to look up additional attributes about the data. From here, the designer marks interesting attributes about that note and searches for other notes that share similar attributes. Later, the designer finds a note that mentions the use of ad blockers. To see if there are others who use ad blockers, the designer uses the text search lens. Upon finding similar notes, the designer compares the two notes side by side using the Note Compare lens. This helps him decide if they belong in the same cluster. After forming a cluster of respondents who reported that Facebook did not violate their privacy, the designer takes a snapshot of the cluster and explores the data in the still mode. In the radar plot showing responses to a multiple-choice question about things Facebook knows, he sees that people in the cluster do not think Facebook knows a lot about them, as indicated by the blue radar plot. The purple plot shows things that they would be willing to share. Based on this insight, he explores a different cluster of people who reported concerns about Facebook privacy violations. He sees that many participants in this cluster feel Facebook know everything about them. To make additional comparisons between the two clusters, the designer applies the split view mode as the clusters are far apart. This shows him the snapshot of the first cluster next to the live view. The designer uses the histogram lens to support clustering of a large group of people who reported ad violations from Amazon. Using the tag cloud lens, the designer quickly summarizes the key terms in the cluster. After clustering all notes, the designer labels the cluster. The labels and other captured insights can be later accessed from the desktop companion application.